Hey, and welcome to Ahead of the Curve. I am Jonathan Gellner, and thank you for joining us. This episode is brought to you by baseballcloud. Go to baseballcloud.com to find out how you can have your own data analytics department for your program. Data has a story to tell, and baseballcloud gives it a voice. In this episode, I speak with the University of Virginia head baseball coach, Brian O'Connor. And in short, Coach O'Connor and I discuss what championship culture versus culture looks like from every aspect of the program. I love this conversation, and here is Brian O'Connor. Coach O'Connor, welcome.
Well, thanks for having me. Great to be here.
Definitely, and we're on your home turf, and I've never been to Virginia before. This place is absolutely beautiful.
When did you get in town?
We got into town late last night. I flew in, and we got here about 12 o'clock. Okay. But I walked around the campus all day today, and it is absolutely beautiful.
Well, we're really fortunate. It's a beautiful campus. It's a great community, and what a great area to have the first annual, Virginia High School Baseball Coaches Convention, and we're excited to be here, that it's here in Charlottesville.
Oh, absolutely. Whenever Tim called me and asked me if I would come interview you guys, I said, when? How soon can I get there? So I'm really excited to have you up here. And, I really want to talk about the culture that you are building, and are continuing to build over time. And a couple of years ago, you spoke at the ABCA whenever you guys won the national championship, and you talked about there being a difference between culture and championship culture.
Yeah.
Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Well, the culture is this hot word that a lot of people use nowadays, whether you're talking about a business or a baseball team or whatever it might be. And really, it's what goes on within your walls of your baseball program. And that culture is not only certainly has a lot to do with the players, but it's everybody involved in your coaching staff down to your trainer. In college baseball, certainly we're fortunate enough to have so many assistants and different people that work in our organization, and it's everybody working together, pulling on the same side of the rope and working towards a common goal, and to build that championship culture, you've got to you have to work hard at it. Mm-hmm. It really does, and you can't let players slide, you can't let staff members slide and things like that, and it's we're certainly, our goal and other programs' goals are to win championships, and so that's the important part of it, and it's certainly holding everybody to a really high standard that a lot of times when young players come into your program and start playing for you, they don't understand that, right? Sure. And they just haven't experienced it to that level and that level of competition, and so it takes some time. We always get some first years that come in and they're ready right away to jump in, and they understand what things are all about, and there are some guys that it takes a little while, but if you've got a great culture, hopefully your veteran players that really believe in what's going on, and they're loyal to the program and loyal to the coaches and their other teammates, and it creates this environment that's kind of passed down from year to year to try to have the best consistent program that you can have. So certainly it's important. Talent is important to win championships, but I think it really comes down to that culture that you have that can carry you through the difficult times. I think about our team in 2015 that we won the national championship with. It was an injury-riddled season, and a lot of different things happened. But I really believe it was that foundation, the pillars of your program that keep it together and allow you to still give yourself a chance. And so we were fortunate that year, and it's something that that championship culture is something that we work on all the time. I spent a lot of time meeting with our coaches about it. We spent a lot of time in meetings, and before the season starts and before the year starts, with the players coming back from the summer, talking about what we need to do to continue to have that great foundation.
As a guy who listens to a lot of different talks about culture, I hear it a lot, and like you said, it is kind of a buzzword, and I think it's more of it's what you see. It's what you see, it's what shows up all of the time. And so for the guys that are listening and the guys that are walking around that are like, Coach O'Connor, I've heard culture, and I know what it looks like, but how do I get it to a level of where I want it and to sustain excellence and to sustain a championship level? Are there any practical ways that you could give us that you guys do it that are kind of unique to you?
Well, I think there's just first and foremost, it's setting a standard. You know, what is the standard of the program? You know, what's the mission of what we want to accomplish, and then once you set that and clearly share those expectations and what that is with your players and your coaches and your whole staff and everything. The most important part of it is to hold people accountable to what that is. Yeah. And that's the difficult thing in coaching. It can be challenging because sometimes people want to look the other way. They don't want to have those confrontational conversations to hold people to that level and that kind of standard. And so that would first and foremost that I would say would be the most important thing is the accountability piece of that. And, you can't stand in front of your players or everybody in an organization and talk about, hey, this is what we're going to do and this is how we're going to do it, and then not hold people to that. Yeah. Right. That falls apart and crumbles pretty quick. So, there's little things I think that you can do. For example, every day that we practice, every conditioning session that we have all year long, other than a game, we finish with a certain exercises that we do as a team, where for 5 minutes we give a chance for one of their teammates to lead the group. So it's teaching them, leadership and how for them to use their voice and command their teammates. It certainly gets them in shape as well, but it really is something that on a consistent basis helps pull our team together and remind them that we're all working together as one group and we need everybody, and there's a certain standard that we're going to keep this at. And it's a little thing like that the players have pride in what they have. It's also doing things like having responsibilities for the players, like whether it be in the locker room to keep things clean or to work on the field. Our guys have responsibilities on the field. We have this beautiful stadium. We have a full grounds crew, but still, I believe it's important to have those players still do work on the field to value what they have. You get to the highest level, you think that you don't have to do those things, and I understand that, but you want to build that pride in order to develop that culture you have.
Right, and the whole time that you're telling me about this, it sounds like you are giving them just a ton of ownership because it's their team. Am I hearing that right?
Absolutely. There's no question. The ownership part of it is really important. Certainly we as coaches and staff members point the direction that we're going to go, right? But they've got to have full ownership in it, and that's certainly the backbone of having a great culture and having a great team. And then, because we're not with them all the time. Right, and they got opportunities, whether it's in the evening, on the weekend, whatever it might be, they have a chance to hold each other to a certain standard. And so, you really encourage that ownership that they need to develop and they need to have, and if they want to truly have a championship type program. And the best teams that we've had, certainly they've been talented, but they've had that personal ownership and what they want to accomplish, and they hold each other accountable to that.
Definitely, and I think that the more that I've been in coaching, I think that's a skill that you can develop over time. I don't think that it's necessarily you're born a leader. I think that with the right guidance, you can develop leaders.
No, there's no question about that. And I'll tell you, as the leader of a program, you have to work at it, and it's really, really important. Because I'll tell you, I believe that there's a certain point in time that your club gets tired of hearing your voice too.
Sure.
Right? And so having another voice, having the voice within the group is so important, but you have to work at it. So we do things purposely to put the young men in positions to, command their teammates and put themselves in those leadership positions. Whether it be, we do a coach pitch scrimmage or a machine pitch scrimmage, which is one of my favorite things to do because we can get so many reps. Right. And I tell the players when they're on defense and we split up into two teams that when the ball is put into play, everybody on the field has to say something.
Sure.
Right? Where we're throwing the ball, some kind of communication to start to one, so they have ownership in what's going on, but
Definitely.
two, so that they communicate and they're able to command and lead their teammates.
For sure. And you've talked a lot about your players, which I absolutely love, because you're a guy that coaches at the highest level that you could possibly coach at a high level all the time.
Right.
And so I want to ask you, what is something that your players love to do in practice? So if you walk into the indoor, you walk to the field and you're like, hey guys, we're doing this today, they get excited. What would that be?
Well, they love to hit every day. That's for
absolutely.
sure. What guys don't, our practices are pretty challenging. They're demanding and they're very, very fast paced. First and foremost, I believe our guys like to compete, and so anytime we get a chance to compete in a scrimmage or something like that, I believe is the thing that they enjoy the most. Certainly, they're going to get their swings in early work or BP or whatever fundamentals it is that we do. But I think they like playing the game the most, and whether that be a machine pitch scrimmage or coach pitch scrimmage or a live game, I hope that's the answer that they would give you.
Perfect. Well, I want to end with this. And again, this is from your ABCA a couple years ago. And I loved this quote. Absolutely love it. I'm probably going to steal it from you in the next week and use it. But you said, how we handle failure is how we will be judged. Do you mind leaving us with what you meant by that?
Well, as you know, failure is a huge part of our game.
Mm-hmm.
It's one of the main reasons I love our game so much, because I think it teaches the young people about life, and how they handle it on the baseball field can impact how they handle it, in life. And so, I just talking to our guys all the time when they come to this level, they fail at a much, much higher rate. And, I just believe that in whatever it is on the baseball field or in life, how you handle those disappointments and those failures and how you respond to them, that's what everybody's watching.
Sure.
That's, they want to see. Last year was the first time in 15 years that we haven't made the NCAA tournament.
Mm-hmm.
Well, guess what? People are going to be watching on how we respond.
Yeah.
Right? And how you handle a failure. And from the failure and how we respond to it, each of us individually and as a group, can help us build that inner self-confidence to ultimately have a really high level of success. So, it's so important, and it's our responsibility as coaches to teach the young people of how to handle that. Mm-hmm. How do they respond to it? How do they handle it immediately? Mm-hmm. Because everybody's watching how they handle it. And really, as coaches, how we handle it, mm-hmm. right? Those, sometimes
they're watching us.
Yeah, we talk to them all the time about body language. Well, as a coach, you got to look at yourself and say, what's my body language like? Sure. Right? And how am I handling defeat and failure? There's many times in my career that I haven't handled it real well, right? And haven't been a great example, but I get back out the next day. Yeah, hopefully learn from it. And so ultimately, I think we're judged. I think we're judged as a team. We're judged as players. We're judged as people on how we respond to those difficult times.
Well, Coach O'Connor, we appreciate your time, and we're looking forward to an awesome weekend.
Great. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for listening to Ahead of the Curve. Before you go, I'd love to be able to get in touch with you, and we have several different ways of doing so. You can follow us on Twitter and Instagram at AOTC_podcast. You can join the AOTC Coaches Facebook group, and if you want to be a part of the mini clinic emails, both of those links are listed below. If you enjoyed the show, please consider leaving us a rating or review to help others find and stay ahead of the curve.